I'll start with number 3.
Okay.
The symbol for the true population proportion is which of the following? And that is the third one, just a P.
Mm-hmm. All right, so the requirements for constructing a confidence interval are satisfied when you plug everything in, or do the formula. It is true.
Mm-hmm.
They are satisfied.
Yep. And it's also true that conducting a hypothesis test is
Yeah.
satisfied.
All right. All right. So question 6. Find out the p hat, or the point estimate of the proportion of the first degree murder defendants who are found guilty in this state. When you do the formula, or you plug the information in the Excel spreadsheet, it's 0.750.
Yep. That's what I got. And then to get the margin of error, you're just going to say that 0.75 is the proportion, the point estimate. And so the margin of error is basically you're going to use, if you use the software, you have the lower bound and the upper bound. So 0.75 minus the margin of error would give you 0.64, and that would be 0.11. And it's also true that adding 0.75 and 0.11 would give you 0.86. So the margin of error is 0.110,
Yep.
I guess, if you're adding to the...
All right. So the lower bound is 0.640, you just said.
And then the upper bound is 0.860. Do you want to do number 10?
Yeah. Sorry. All right. So if you increase the sample size from 60 to 80, what do you expect to happen to the width of the confidence interval? And it will decrease as the sample size gets bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it? The two things it says is the level of confidence increases, the interval increases, but as the sample size increases, the interval decreases.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Number 11, to conduct a hypothesis test for one proportion, 2 requirements must be met. Suppose that p equals 1/2. What's the smallest sample size that can be and both requirements still be met? Those requirements are that the sample size times the proportion are greater than or equal to 10, and also that the sample size times 1 minus the proportion greater than or equal to 10. The smallest would be 20 to satisfy those.
Yep. Same thing on question 12. Suppose p equals 1/10 or 0.10 or 0.1. Sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it could be 0.10 too.
Right.
0.1. What is the smallest it can be? And the sample size can be in both requirements and still be met. And the one, it's 100.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Number 13. We're wanting to know basically the same thing. If conditions for conducting a hypothesis or test are satisfied. So basically, we just want to know if n times the p or the proportion is greater than 10, and that is true. It was greater than 10.
All right. So, what is the p hat for this problem, and it is 0.475.
The test statistic is the z-score, and if you can do the formula, or you can just type it into the Excel software, and it'll give you negative 2.282.
Yep. All right, the p-value for this test is excuse me, sorry, is 0.011.
And then since the p-value is less than the level of significance, we would reject the null hypothesis.
Yep. And then 18, so which of the following best summarizes the conclusion of this test? And it is, there is insufficient evidence to conclude that the water quality in the area has decreased. Is that right?
I put D.
What is that? There's sufficient evidence to conclude the water quality has decreased. Wait, yeah. No, you're right.
Yeah, because if we reject the null hypothesis, that means that we know. Yeah. If we fail to reject a null hypothesis, that's when we don't have it.
Yeah, you're right. Sorry. I don't know what I was looking at. All right.
All right. This one wasn't too bad. I think it's really just kind of more of the same kind of stuff we've been studying. Just
it is
proportions.
Yeah, it's just a little bit different, but pretty much the same thing.
Probably the same for next week too.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go ahead and